Ranveer, welcome to India Today.
Thank you, India Today. Thank you for recently conferring me with a very special award. I'm very, very grateful. And most significantly, it is great to see you, my brother Tej. It's been a minute. What's going on?
It's been a while. It's been more than a while. I mean, I've been waiting for this chat for
Pandemic
quite
तो
some
हो गया यार बीच में अब
Absolutely.
क्या करें 2-2.5 साल तो राइट ऑफ हो गए हम सबके
Absolutely. I want to jump in and talk to you about the fact that you finished over a decade.
Oh,
I
yeah?
remember watching Band Baja Barat and sending you a text, and you very sweetly have said, "Sir, thank you for this."
Arey, sir,
that
thank
Ranveer
you.
at that point in time, when he started off, getting text messages from people in the industry appreciating your work, to now, how has your definition of success changed? Has it changed?
The definition of success, it took me a while to define success for myself. In the middle, I had a definition of success, which was something I heard in a motivational audiobook. It was during Bajirao Mastani. I actually snapped my shoulder, fell off a horse trying to do a stunt. And I was really down in the dumps. So I needed something, some kind of motivation, you know. It was like, man, what is this? Biggest film of my life. I haven't even done one sword fighting scene and I don't have my right shoulder. It was shattering. So I used to listen to those audiobooks and there was one definition of success that really stuck with me. It said, success is measured by the beneficial footprint that you leave on society. You know, how much good can you do upon others? How much are you able to uplift others? And I think, even though that's 5-7 years ago, I think that's the one definition of success that resonates with me the most. Success is measured by the beneficial footprint you leave on society. Now, I feel like if you are able to serve and uplift others, the more of that you do, the more successful you can consider yourself.
You gave a very deep definition of
जी
success.
मैं हूँ यार deep मैं privilege लगता हूँ लेकिन हूँ बड़ा deep मैं.
Absolutely, and I think that insight into your thought process of processing everything is only something that Ranveer knows. I want to talk to you about when, as an actor, a film doesn't work, or when you think that, okay, the audience probably has not connected with this role or with this character. I'm just trying to get into your mind and understand on a Friday when figures come in, or when you realize that whatever the barometer might be, and if it doesn't reach that, how do you process it? Do you have a way of looking at it? Like in the case of 83. Now this obviously is a conversation that probably people have been asking you. What is your take on it? The film didn't do as people thought that it would do. I personally loved it. But what is your take on that?
It's funny you ask because in the case of 83, I didn't even ask till like, I don't know, maybe Saturday evening कि यार अरे हाँ यार numbers क्या थे? You know, I didn't even bother to ask. It was just, I was submerged at the time. Touch wood, I'm very grateful. I was submerged at the time because we started showing 83 to people well in advance, you know, from Monday, Tuesday onwards, we started showing the film. We were so proud of what we made. I'm so happy and excited to share it with people that we started from Monday, Tuesday, and therefore people started seeing it, you know, people started writing about it. And by Friday, I was submerged in what was nothing short of an avalanche of love and praise. Perhaps the most I've ever gotten for any film or any character. It was unprecedented for me. I've kept all of those messages at the risk of my phone getting overloaded. Just because anytime I need a little bit of a lift, I can just go back and read what people said to me at the time. Because it was not just the volume of messages. It was what they were saying in those messages. It was the language they were using, the emphatic and outpouring of feeling and emotion. It was palpable in each and every one of those messages, whether it was social media, messages, WhatsApps, Twitter, just about everywhere, you know. And I still have all of that in my heart, and all of that makes my heart glow. Now, I do understand that it was criticized by the trade for not having made as much money as it was projected to make. I think more than anything, Right. So before anything, I would like to establish that it still made like 200 crores in the middle of
Yes.
the third wave, you know,
Yes.
which is not bad at all. That many people went to watch it in spite of the third wave spreading like wildfire across the world. It was just a case of unfortunate timing. You know, there were two releases in the week prior that did good business in their week, and literally 48 hours before the Friday of our release, key markets were shut down. Theaters in all these key markets were shut down, and these are key markets.
Right.
Like large chunks. If you really look at कि हिंदी फिल्मों का धंधा होता कहाँ है, these are key markets. These are chunks of 10% and this percent, and that was just like we were going in with half, you know.
Right.
And it was just unfortunate. It's like 40. What you gonna do? We released. We went ahead with the release. The film that was going to come literally a week later moved.
Right.
So it was just a very bad time to release the movie. So therefore it didn't do the numbers. Also, it did decent numbers. It's
Yes.
just that it was a very expensive film. So perhaps a failing of budgeting, but then to tell such a, जैसे कहते हैं ना विशाल कहानी, in order to tell this kind of tale, in order to realize a film like this, you need that kind of budget. So perhaps it wasn't a profitable film in terms of just money, but I will tell you unequivocally, it is amongst my most loved films. There is unanimous love for that film, and I anticipate a long, long life. It's one of those everlasting films, you know. That is the kind of love. Now I've also spent 10 years in the business, you know. I know when X film comes out, what the response is. You can now gauge it. Or Y film comes out, you can gauge it. 83, in terms of love, acclaim, respect, and all of those things that matter to me personally more than money and box office, is tops. It's that literally at the top of the heap amongst my most loved films and performances. And I do understand that the producers would have hoped for
Right.
more.
Yeah,
But
fair enough.
personally, I, as an artist, as an actor, I could not have asked for more.
Absolutely.
It's just been 83 is an absolutely crowning jewel in my filmography, and I've rewatched the film over and over again, and I can't get enough of it. I just love the movie. I'm very, very proud of it, and very proud of Kabir and what he made.
Absolutely. And that resonates with so many
और
people.
ये कुछ फिल्में ऐसी होती हैं सब वो जिंदगी भर चलेगी अगर आप मेरी I won't take the name of other films. Yes, in cinema there have been some of the most loved and cult films. I'll name one perhaps. Shawshank Redemption. Didn't work at the box office, but it's probably considered to be one of the greatest films of all time. ऐसे होता है.
Correct.
अंदाज़ अपना अपना cult film. So oftentimes it happens that for whatever reason something doesn't work at the box office, theatrical धंधा नहीं होता है, but those films live forever.
Absolutely.
On the flip side of it, you have a film that makes 100 crores, 200 crores, but has no really lasting memory. Lots of it was hype, lots of people went to see it, but they came out saying not so nice things about it. It got footfalls and numbers and did that kind of business, sure. But what are people saying when they come out?
Right.
In the case of 83, there is unanimous love and it's a loved film.
It is.
और क्या चाहिए यार बंदे को?
और क्या चाहिए बंदे को जयेश भाई जोरदार के बारे में बात करनी है. I want to talk to you about Jayeshbhai Jordaar. The trailer, of course, has got all of us excited. You're playing a father in the film.
Yeah.
Has that got you the itch of also thinking of starting a family, because you've been so vocal about
It's not got to do with the film, but yeah, I mean, touch wood, my life is coming along. You know, career is on the right path. I feel my marriage was timed really nicely, and it's been a few years. So yeah, we're always talking about this life that we're sharing together. And yeah, we are always discussing and in conversation about how we want to, you know, mold our lives and lifestyles. So yeah, it's definitely in the conversation. But I think the fact that I'm playing a dad in this movie, I think that's a separate thing. But yeah, having said that, been married 3.5, 4 years now, and yeah, we're always in conversation about our lives and the way forward.
Absolutely. And I think you and Deepika keep it as real as it gets, and we love that.
It's all credit to her, man. I mean, she's literally one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met in my life. Her stability, her level-headedness, her strength, her depth, her sensitivity, her empathy, her compassion, and her ability to, like you said, keep it real. In spite of the stature that she commands as a consummate movie star, actor, I really have a deep admiration for her, because I see her public persona, and then on the flip side, I know her so intimately. She amazes me. She really never ceases to amaze me. She's the best thing that ever happened to me.
If this isn't love, then I don't know what is.
Yeah, I'm really missing her. She's been busy shooting Pathaan. I've been busy shooting Rocky Rani. But now she's helping me cultivate more of a work-life balance. You know, make it a point to make the time to spend the time together. So that's now coming into my life and lifestyle, and I'm really grateful to her for giving me that nudge to her in the right direction. One, it is, I feel now, important to have a work-life balance, and I have more of it, all thanks to her, and I'm very grateful to her for that.
Yes, and you should embrace it. And for someone who also knows what's happening in the industry, it's not that you keep a tap on everything, but there is this whole conversation going on right now about South films and their impact on Bollywood. And also the language concept. The fact that there was this recent conversation where, you know, Ajay sent out a tweet and Kicha Sudeep obviously responded to that, that in Hindi is the national language. And then there are South languages also. Films are being dubbed in both languages. There are Hindi films that have an audience in the South market, and there are South films which are being remade or dubbed in the Hindi-speaking languages. Given the recent success of Pushpa, RRR and KGF, as a cinegoer or just as an audience and also as an actor, what is your take on these two things? One is the language debate that is going on, and second is this whole influx of regional films coming to Bollywood.
You know, taking the first part of your question, the language part of it, I feel like a story should be potent enough that it transcends these boundaries of language. You know, like if you look at the example of Parasite, it won all these Oscars. You know, it at the highest level. You know, what is considered to be the highest level, the Oscars. And it was a subtitled film, and it was made by a Korean director in Korea, and it went, and in the time that it was made, was considered the best film. I watched it. Did you watch it?
Yes.
There you go. So you see how content just travels now. There are no boundaries. I believe Narcos, though I haven't been a follower of the show, but I understand it's an extremely popular show. I believe it's in Spanish.
Yes.
Right? Money Heist as well. So it's in the Korean language, in the Spanish language. People all over the world are consuming content, entertainment, pieces of work that have transcended this boundary, you know, and that the content speaks for itself. When you have a potent story rendered in a spectacular way, it will transcend boundaries, and I think that's a wonderful thing. I have seen Pushpa, I loved it. I have seen KGF Part 1, haven't seen Part 2 yet, I'm dying to see it. I loved KGF Part 1. I'm a huge fan of the work that these guys are doing. Allu Arjun, rocking star Yash. I saw RRR in the theatre. I had the good fortune and privilege of seeing it in the theatre. It blew my brains. These are amazing movies, and I'm so happy that they are doing so well and have found audiences all over the world. I find the technical aspects of those films very solid. I find them very, very impressive, and I'm really happy that it's happening. And the logic works both ways, right? Tomorrow there'll be a Hindi film that will do the same kind of. I'm sure this conversation is really more on the business side of
Right.
things. So I'm sure there'll be a Hindi movie that will do those kind of numbers. You know, like our films have done impressive numbers in other markets that you didn't expect. You know, Amir Khan's films do well, like in China, for instance. It's really about the story. It's about whether it touches your heart, whether it gives you that mind-blowing cinematic experience. Those will speak regardless of language and region and stuff. Like these are boundaries that you know, like cinema has that power to transcend the boundaries. Sport has that power to transcend boundaries. Music has the power to transcend that boundary. For
Absolutely.
instance, I think one of my favorite songs of the recent past is Oo Antava Mama. I go mad when it plays, but I don't really understand. But that music has that, it touches me, does something to me, you know, so why not? And like I said, the logic works both ways. Tomorrow, you know, a film like, let's say, Dangal or something will go and do, you know, great business. And I feel like why is that considered to be regional cinema?
Correct.
This is also, these films made in the Hindi language work in certain regions, and therefore they can also be termed as regional.
Correct.
You know, so
Would you be open to doing a film in a different language if it comes to you?
I'm dying to do it, first of all, in English, which is like my second language. I work predominantly in Hindi, but I would love to do something in English. I can't speak Tamil or Telugu or Malayalam, but I would love to. I keep talking to my peers and colleagues, and I keep asking them how they work in different languages. Like Pooja, I did a movie with Pooja Hegde recently, and I was trying to understand that process of how, you know, how do you do it. Deepika right now is doing Nagashwin's film with Prabhas, which is in multiple languages, which is so exciting. And I try and understand. So I want to learn. And I think I personally, I've always seen it as Indian cinema. And I'm very proud of the diversity that we have in our country. I think it's definitive of our nation. Even when I go abroad and I meet new people, and, you know, I'm trying to give them context to me and who I am and where I come from and what I do. I met, on my recent travels, I've met some really, really eminent people from all walks of life, from sports, arts, politics. And I find that one of the first things that I say to them about myself is that I come from a country that is the most diverse country in the world.
Yes.
In terms of its culture, cuisine, language, geography, just about everything. And I feel like I'm somebody who celebrates that diversity. You know, that's what makes our country so beautiful, is that we have this diversity and that we celebrate it. And when these movies do well, I feel extremely happy, because it all contributes to Indian cinema,
Yes.
which is how I've always viewed it. You know, I always see it as Hindi, not as Hindi cinema, but as Indian cinema. So I'm very, very happy, and honestly, one thing that impresses me the most is the technical ability.
Yeah.
I think in terms of shot taking, cinematography, background music, editing. Now, I'm a person of cinema, so when I see these things, I can't help but break it down and analyze it. Man, technically, the technicians that are working in Hyderabad and in Chennai and stuff, man, bomb stuff. There's so much to learn and so much to share. So yeah, I'm thrilled about it. I am very proud that a film like Baahubali comes and, you know, for Indian cinema, breaks the barrier. You know, it's like the most watched or the most you know, revered film. You know, when box offices become such an important part of you know, the movies. At the end of the day, I do understand it's commercial art, it's a business at the end of the day. So when you have a film that comes and redefines the number game,
Yes.
you know, when B2 came out, it was like films used to only earn that much. It went and it shattered that ceiling. It created a whole new range of possibilities. What's not to celebrate in that? You know, I don't look upon myself as the other. It's not them and us. You know, I look at it as one. I've collaborated with some of the my counterparts, you know, in actors from like Mahesh Babu, and I watched Dhanush, Allu Arjun, Ram Charan, Tarak, Mahesh Babu. I'm a great admirer of their craft. I think one of my favorite movies of all time is one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. They're all people who work in Chennai. Mr. Mani Ratnam, Mr. A.R. Rahman, legends. I mean, Nayakan, Talapati, Rahman and his whole body of work. He's divinity, you know. So yeah, I have a huge amount of love and respect and reverence, because and I never see it as the other. I see it as one. Yeah, that's really.
It's not them versus us.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's all of it.